discussing automations, right? So essentially, we're going to be going over what they are, how they're used, and why they're beneficial. We're also going to be going over the top automations to have and some common pitfalls as well with certain setups of the automations themselves. We're then going to be going over document flows, which is a recently added feature that we have in the system, which is tied to automations as well. And then at the very end, we're going to have a space for questions and answers as well, guys. All right. So, to start things off, what I want to put out there, guys, everything that I'm basing myself off of today's webinar is already something that's available to you in our knowledge base. We have a automation section within our knowledge base that has all the top automations. I'm only going to be discussing three today. However, as you can see on my screen, there are many more than that. So we do recommend you take a look at these just in case there's something that's beneficial here that's not going to be discussed today. All right. So, with that being said, giving a quick intro to automations. This is pretty much a way to, being a bit redundant, automate the way or automate certain actions in your day to day. For example, emails, SMS, things like that, follow-ups. Those are automations that we can create in the system and that ideally we want to see you guys start to use. So that way you're taking things out of your plate and letting the system handle and take care of it for you. So, to start off with that, guys, we're going to be going over three top automations that I have handpicked, which are kind of like the most common ones we see our customers use, and the most common ones here at Support that we tend to recommend as well. We're going to start off with one that is called Send an Automated Email when a lead is created. Now, this one can be set up both externally and internally. What do I mean by that? Meaning that we can send an email to the customer once that lead is created as, that initial follow-up, or it can be sent to the company distro email in case we need everybody, internally to have a heads up on, hey, there's a new lead. So to start off, guys, let me take a step back. Let me go all the way to the beginning. So, whenever we log into the system, obviously we're going to see the moves calendar like we see here. From here, we're going to go to the top right gear icon. So we're in the settings. And then here, we're going to look for the option that's called automations. For now, it's a blank slate, but obviously with the automations that we're going to create, we're going to see them trickle in. And for now, we're going to start off by clicking create automation. We're going to give this a name. So I am going to just copy and paste the name that I have here directly. Keep it simple. Description, I'm just going to leave empty for now. Then I'm going to click create automation. Now, here we are at the first step that we have to fill out. So every automation is going to start with a trigger. There has to be an action that triggers the actual automation to follow through with the rest of the steps. So in this one, the first trigger that we're going to be setting is actually, let's say, project, right? So project created. Uh, we can see, actually, let me take a step back. Let me kind of explain this one by one. So within projects, we have different various options to choose from in terms of triggers. One of them being project created, another one is virtual walkthrough submitted, project variable updated, project canceled, project completed. What this is telling us is essentially if any of these actions are performed, the rest of the steps that we're going to add to this automation are going to start to execute automatically. So in this case, the one that's relevant to us is the project actually being created. So now that we do that, we have this second option or this second filter that comes up, which is pretty much project type. So here we're able to choose what automation this project type is going to directly affect. In this case, since it's a new lead email, we would want this to pretty much affect every single project type that we have in the system. Obviously, if you wanted to be a little bit more personalized, a little bit more focused towards a certain project type, then you can go ahead and do so by clicking into this option, deselecting all, and then manually selecting the project type that you're looking to actually target. But for now, we're going to keep it under all projects. So now we're done with that. Now that we went ahead and did this, the next step is essentially the action, right? So within actions, we have different options. We have everything from delay, complete task, update task, send quote, send document flow, send SMS, assign to branch, add project tags, stop if, create task, archive task, send email. This is the one that we're going to be using, send confirmation, assign office staff, send virtual walkthrough SMS, invoke webhook, and remove project tags. So we have quite a few actions that the system could go ahead and automate for you. But in this case, once again, what is relevant to us today is a email being sent out. So once I click into that, we can see that we now have the option to select an email template. Now, when we're talking about these automations, guys, and we're looking to send out emails or SMS, we need to make sure that those templates, those email and SMS templates, are created in the system prior to actually creating the automation. Because if not, at this point, we would reach a wall, right? Because there's no actual template that we can choose from because the wording's not in the system yet. So I'm going to take a step back from that. I'm actually going to create the email template that I need, and I want to do that here with you guys live. So we're going to go back to settings. We're going to go to communications. We're going to go to email templates. And in this case, we're going to create an email template. This is going to be a custom email template. We're going to call this one email reminder. We can do this. We're going to keep this very vague. So this way, this can apply both for quote follow-ups and I'm sorry, apologies. I'm actually skipping ahead. This is the wrong one. This is new lead. I was about to skip into the other automation. Apologies for that. So email template name, new lead. Recipients in this case, this is the one that's going to be for the customer. And the good thing is, guys, that within the article we have for this automation, we have a email template that we've provided as an example for you to use. So that's actually what I'm going to be using and copying and pasting here as well. So the subject that we suggested is ready to book your move. This we don't want to have, obviously. And then the actual body of the email goes as follows. So like I said, the good thing about the articles that we have is that we provide these templates for you. So that way you have something kind of like fresh out of the box to use. But obviously, if you want to personalize, that's completely up to you guys. So now that I've copied this, I'm going to put in some formatting, spacing it out, making it look nice. And there we go. So now that we have the wording, we're going to click create and we have our email template. So now what I can do is I can go back, whoops, to the automation, this one right here. And I'm most likely going to have to give it a quick refresh. I think that might, okay, it didn't take me out. Perfect. So just took me to step one. So project created, done. And now here, the action, send email. I'm going to look for the one that I just created, which is new lead, this one right here. Done. So with this, essentially, we would be pretty much done, right? If we only wanted the email to go out to the customer. But now let's say we also want this email to go out internally to, the salesperson, a distro email that you guys have, et cetera, whatever the case may be. So in this case, we're going to go back to the section right here. We're going to create a new one. And this is also going to be a custom email template. We're going to call this one new lead internal heads up, for example. And the recipients in this case, we're going to be using the company notification email section. So this is typically tied to a distro email that you as a company would be using, which is essentially an email that everybody in the company, or at least office members, have access to. Now, for this one, I don't have an actual template to recommend. We didn't add this into the actual article itself. However, wording could be like, hello, team. A new lead has been entered into Super Move, and here are the details. So at this point, what I would actually start doing, guys, would be adding the different variables that we have in place. So these variables are pretty much the autofill or the meta tags that we use to extract information from projects. So here, what we would want to do is, for example, name. So let's do bill to client, contact, full name. Like that. Let's say we're going to want type for the projects, or the job type in this case. Like that. And for the sake of the example, guys, we're going to leave it at this. So obviously, if you guys wanted to have more information from this newly created project on this email, obviously, like I said, variables is the way to go. But for now, we're going to go ahead and close this one out. Make sure we have this correct. New lead, go review, subject like such. All right, so now that we have all these details, guys, we're going to click create, and we have now our second email template in place. So once again, I'm going to go back and we're going to refresh so that way this updates. And as we can see, guys, this is why I brought up what I said previously. We want to have these templates in place so we kind of avoid this back and forth. But the intention of today was to actually show you how to create the templates on the call. So that's why I am kind of forcing myself through this back and forth. So starting once again, just from the top, guys, like that. Send email. The first one that we're going to be sending is the one that's the new lead. So this is the one to the customer. On this same automation, we're going to be adding a second send email step. And what we're going to do here is select the one that is designed for internal. So new lead, internal heads up. This is the one that I just created. Done. So at this point, this is the final step that we're going to be adding to this automation. So just to run through it, the trigger of this automation is a project being created. The first action is the email template new lead being sent to the customer. Then after that, the second action is the email template called new lead internal heads up being sent to the company distro email. So that way you guys also have the heads up of this new lead coming through. So with that being said, we can go ahead and save automation. And we have our automation in place, guys. All right, so that's the first one we have for you. Uh, I can see that there are a couple of questions trickling in, guys. For now, Nick is the one that's going to be answering those while I'm obviously here explaining. But once again, at the end of the call, there will be a section dedicated to Q&A. So for now, I'm just going to swiftly continue. So the next automation that I want to run with you guys is a pre-move email to customer. So, let's say a day, 2 days, 3 days, however many days before the actual move starts, you want to send an email and maybe even an SMS to the customer, right? This is the automation for that. Now, before we get into the whole automation itself, I'm going to be going once again, you guys guessed it, to my communication section to make sure the templates that I need are in place. And once again, in the articles that we have provided these templates like such. So create email template, custom email template. We have the subject. So for this example, we're going to be setting it up as if this was a day before the email or the job is actually starting. And recipient's customer, day before, reminder. We'll call this one just reminder, day before, for example, that works. And then I'm going to also copy the body that we have that we suggested, which is this one right here. So just adding a bit of editing, making sure it looks nice for the customer and everything like such. Anything. There we go. Beautiful. All right, we are good to go with our template. And I'm going to set this up as an SMS template as well. So that way we can send out an email and a text message at the same time. Day before move reminder. All right. So a little bit different when it comes to creating an SMS, as we can see here. One thing I do want to go over with you guys is the template type. So this option we didn't have previously on the email, but when it comes to SMS, we do have to choose who this SMS template is directed to. So we have three options: customer, your movers, or the office staff. In this case, it's the customer that we want to give the heads up to, right? And here, I'm just going to do this. We're going to copy the same email template, but as an SMS template. And we click create. So now that we have this here, we're going to come back to the automation section. And we're going to get started with this second automation. So once again, create automation. We're going to give it a name, day before the move. We're going to create the automation. Awesome. All right. So now in this case, the trigger for this one is going to be different. In this one, we're going to be using schedule. Why? Because this one allows us to use the before job start or before project start option. So here we also have to understand how many, let's say, follow-ups we want to be sending to these customers. And the reason I bring this up is because if we choose before job starts, and let's say we have a project with 3 jobs, they're going to receive an SMS one day prior for each and every single one of those jobs. However, if we use before project start, it's going to only send one reminder, or essentially this automation is only going to trigger once, and that's for the first job, right? Because that's what's considered as the project start date. So to keep it simple, we're going to keep it under before project starts. Once again, we're seeing the option to choose which project types this should directly affect. Days before, pretty simple. This in this case, we're going to do 1 day before. And another cool feature is that we can actually tell the system specifically at what time do we want this SMS to be sent out, or essentially these emails to be sent out. So to keep it simple, guys, let's just say we're going to send them out at 6 p.m. Somewhere along the night, so that way, they have that fresh off the top of their morning. Now that we have this, we click done. And here, there's going to be potentially a stop if we want to add. Yes, perfect. So we have the possibility of adding filters, which we call stop if, which is this one right here. And these are relevant, guys, because there's going to be situations that occur during these automations where, a status changes. Maybe we add a project tag, something like that. And based off of that, we don't want that automation to run anymore because it's not relevant for the customer to receive. So in this case, the stop if that we're going to be using is going to be based off the status of the project. And what that means is as follows. So let's go one by one here. So here it's telling us to check what? In this case, check the project. It's telling us to select the property. What does that mean? In this case, the status. So move status and the condition. So is it equal or is it not equal? In this case, so that way we don't have to do like multiple stop ifs, or we just kind of keep a general stop if. We're going to do is not equal. And I'm about to explain why we want to do this. And value essentially is telling us what status to look at. And in this case, it's going to be booked. So from the very top, guys, what this is telling us right now is that if the move status is not equal to booked, meaning that it moved away from this status for any reason, whatever the case is, essentially the automation is going to stop right here. And the customer is not going to receive the emails and the SMS that we're about to set up for the automation itself. Why? Because maybe at this point, the customer is actually in a cancel status, right? And obviously, since they canceled, we don't want to give them a reminder because we're essentially not going to be executing a job for them. So that now that that's there, we're going to click done. We're going to add another step or another action in this case. And in this one, you guys guessed it, is going to be the send email. So here we're going to select the template, and I'm going to look for the one that I created. Reminder day before. I'm going to click done. I'm going to add one more action, and this one is going to be, you guys guessed it, send SMS. So here we're going to select the template category, which is customer. We're going to reminder, excuse the typo. And the select recipient kind, this is going to be either choosing the primary client or the billing client. That's going to be obviously assigned on the project. For now, we're going to keep it as the primary client. And we're going to click done. And at this point, guys, we have now completed the automation for a reminder to be sent to customers a day before the actual project or the job starts in this case. So now that we have this here, we're going to click Save Automation, and voila, we're good to go. We now have two automations that are going to help us with follow-ups and reminders to our company and to our customers as well. Now, the last automation that I'm going to run with you guys is pretty much a reminder for quotes and confirmations. So let's say you just sent a quote and you want an SMS or an email to be sent out tomorrow, like a follow-up, letting them know like, hey, we sent this to you. Please review. Please let them know if you have any questions, so on and so forth. So once again, first step, guys, we're gonna go here to the communication section. We're gonna create those templates that we need. And the great thing is we make your guys' life easy because we provide these templates for you. So we're actually gonna start email. There we go. So this is going to be, once again, a custom email template. The name that we're going to be giving this one is quote reminder email. And this is targeted towards the customer. And the subject line that we're going to be using is a reminder from company name, like that. And we also have the body that we're going to be able to provide for you guys, which is this one right here. So here, just a little bit of formatting that we have to do, make sure it looks neat, like an actual email. And lastly, like that. There we go. Sorry, guys, I'm a bit of a neat freak. Even if it's just an example, I want it to look good. So now we're going to click create, and we have our email. Same thing for SMS. We're going to go ahead and do this as well. So template name, we're just going to do the same as before. Template type, again, this is towards the customer. And then the body, we're going to use the same body that we added in the email. Make things even easier like that. So now we click create, and we have our templates. Beautiful. So coming back, now we're going to create the automation for the quote reminder after 24 hours. So create automation. We're going to give this a name right here, quote reminder. There we go. All right. So once again, for this automation, guys, we're going to be using, once again, a different trigger. In this case, the trigger is going to be quote. If it were confirmation, then obviously we would be using confirmation. So the second part of the trigger is the quote actually being sent. And once again, here we just choose if this should apply to all project types and all project tags as well. Keep an eye out for this because this is relevant later on. For now, we're going to click done. Now we have our trigger in place. We're going to start off with the rest of the automation. So before we actually do anything with the emails and the SMS and stuff like that, we're going to do a stop if. Yes, you guys guessed it. Or actually, not even a stop if, my bad, I'm going to take a step back, a delay. So the delay, because remember, this is going to be actioned 24 hours after the confirmation or the quote has been sent. So the delay is essentially going to do that. So we chose delay, we choose days, and then we put in 1 day. So that way we're delaying it. And as you can see, we have different options for delays. We can delay by hours, by days, or even by weeks, depending on the need. Now that we're here, now what we want to do is actually send out, set up the stop if. So that way we can set up any blocks in case it's not needed. So coming to this one, guys, the stop if that we're going to be using. So once again, we're going to be checking the project. The property is the move status, and the condition is not equal to, and in this case, lead, right? So remember, whenever we send a quote, guys, the status of that project stays in lead. When we send a confirmation, the status of the project updates to on hold. So that's very important whenever we're creating these because we need to create a separate automation for quote and then a separate automation for confirmation. So since this is one for quote, we're telling the system that it has to check the project status, and if it's not equal to lead status, then it should stop here, which is perfect. Now, the second stop if that we're going to be adding here is actually based off of a project tag. So once again, just like the SMS templates and stuff like that, we want to create this project tag before we're here. So that way we don't have to kind of go with the back and forth. But I did my due diligence and I created this actually previous to this call. So it's already in place. And essentially, sorry, started choosing the wrong one. What we're going to be doing is the following. So we're going to select check tag in this case. Condition is assigned. And the project tag in this case that we're going to be using is the one for quote sent. And I just lost it. Sorry, guys, bit of technical difficulties on my end. Oh, sorry. So it's not quote sent, it's actually quote reminder sent. All right. And the reason that this is relevant, guys, is because this automation, it would essentially loop, right? It would continuously send without stopping. And obviously we don't want to bombard the customer that way, right? So this is going to help us kind of uh put a loop on the or put a stop on the actual automation itself. And we're about to get to that part. So we have our stop ifs. Now at this point, we actually want to start sending out information. So in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to click send email. We're going to be choosing the one that we just created, which is the quote reminder email. Done. And then we're also going to do send SMS. Category is customer. The template is quote reminder. And the recipient is going to be the primary client. Done. Now, you would imagine that this is the end of the actual automation, but we're missing one last step. And the last step is as follows. We want this automation, after it's sent the email reminders and the SMS reminders, to assign a specific project tag. That project tag is the one that we added to this stop if. So we can see how we're kind of closing the circle on the loop itself. So here we're going to click add projects. The project tag that we're going to be choosing is the one that we selected above, quote reminder sent, right? And click done. So the way that this is going to run, guys, is as follows. You send out the quote, that's going to trigger this automation. It's then going to wait 24 hours, or essentially 1 day. It's going to check if the status is outside of lead. It's going to check if that tag, this one right here, is already on that project. If it passes these two, then in that case, they're going to receive the email reminder. Then they're going to receive the text message reminder. And lastly, the automation is going to add the quote reminder sent to the project so that way it doesn't run through the automation again and again and again. Okay. Now that we have all this here, guys, we click Save Automations and we're good to go. We now have our automations in place, guys. So remember, we are only going to be discussing these three today. We do have a help article that is pretty much full of different automations that we recommend and that we see you guys use on a day-to-day basis. So highly recommend going through this. But in this case, guys, what we are now going to be discussing is our second part of automations, which is document flows. And to access document flows, guys, what we're going to do is we're going to go over to communication. Oh, sorry, not communication. Apologies. Documents. Document. Okay. So it's not showing up on here. So this is actually a good learning experience. Our demo account, it's a branch setup, right? And with branch setups, the way we have it, essentially the main branch is one that controls anything regarding like documents, tags, etc. So for me to be able to actually achieve the document flow on this account, I have to move over to our main account because if I go to the settings here, we're going to see we now have this section right here, documents. This is what I'm looking for. So we're going to view and edit. And once we're here, we're going to see we have, aside from templates, flows. Now, when it comes to flows, guys, we previously had kind of like a funky workaround when it came to sending documents to customers that needed signature outside of, like confirmation quotes, outside of, whatever's signed on the tablet itself. And it was like a very hacky workaround where, the documents that maybe they didn't sign during the move, you would have to send them through the confirmation process and, it would just be a whole mess. Now, document flows, this is essentially a way to send any document that you need to your customers for signature outside of the confirmation process. Might be a bit hard to understand right now, but once I start explaining, I bet it's going to start to make sense. So, one of the clear examples that we have to offer for you guys when it comes to document flows is the fact of, let's say the guys, they took out a tablet to the job site and I don't know, the tablet broke, it died, they lost it, they didn't have connection. Essentially, they weren't able to run the job through the tablet, meaning they couldn't get the signatures for the moving agreement or the BOL or the shipping and freight order bill, stuff like that. And obviously, those are things that the customer still needs to sign. So that way we can close them out from the actual job or the project in the system. And this is where essentially document flows comes into place. So we're going to create a new flow and we're going to give it a name. So let's say uh, docs not completed on job sites. Again, just like with the automations, guys, we need to have an email template in place ready to use. So that way, the wording that we're sending to the customer alongside with the documents is relevant. For this case, guys, just for the sake of the example, I'm going to use the one that I have here. And we have additional options. So we can set an expiration, kind of like the ones that we have on confirmation. If you wanted to expire after X amount of days, that's a possibility. We can also attach documents as a PDF. I always recommend adding this one so there's always an actual tangible version of whatever the customer is signing. They have a copy of it. And then project types, just as automations, we get to choose if this affects all project types or if this is something that we're going to be very picky with. For now, we're just going to choose all. And oh, and then we have another subsequent section, which is assigned to all new project types. So let's say you guys are constantly building out project types for whatever reason, and any of those new project types that are created, they automatically get this document flow assigned to them as well. And lastly, the last step that we actually have to take care of is adding the documents. So from the documents that you would typically see, on a move, we would have the agreement for moving services. We click save. We add another one. We would typically see as well bill of lading. Just see what's through here real quick. Liability waiver, bill of lading, right? So in a perfect world, let's just say these are the three documents that are being signed on a job. So these are the ones that we're going to want to add to this workflow. Now that we have this in place, guys, we click save and we have added it to our actual system. Now, to use this, we need to be on a project. So I'm going to create a quick training project. Let it load. There we go. And we're to view project. Nice. So now that we're here, there are two sections we can start document flows from. The first one is by actually clicking on the customer's email in the top right corner. Here we can see document flows start at the very beginning and then email templates follow right below. So in this case, we're going to be accessing the one that says docs not completed on job site. I'm going to select this. I'm going to see the documents that need to be signed. This also very similar to how the confirmation flow looks as well. So it looks and essentially behaves almost the same way. But the good thing is that this is separate from the confirmation workflow. The email draft that is assigned to this specific workflow is going to show up. I use the confirmation complete email template, guys, because I didn't have the one that I needed right here, and just for the sake of time, just chose a random one. But obviously, the one that you guys would use would be custom tailored with specific wording on it and stuff like that. And now that we have this here, we're going to click send. And this is going to send an email to the customer. The customer is going to receive that email. Within that email, there's going to be a link for them to click on. And when they click on that link, it's essentially going to show those three documents that I added, which were the liability waiver, the agreement for moving services, and the bill of lading for the customer to review and sign. Right. And the whole intention of this, guys, was, I'm sending this now through the system because, the guys, they weren't able to get those signatures on the actual tablet itself. So that's what it is when it comes to document flows, guys. There's one other example I do want to share with you regarding document flows, and it's the case of, let's say we're talking to a customer and I'm able to book them over the phone, right? But I still need maybe the confirmation letter and stuff like that to be sent out. Now, using this same project that I just had, a quick second here, guys, this one. Right. So using this same project, right? So I'm talking to Lewis. He said, "Yeah, man, I want to move with you guys. You're a great company. Book me for next week on the first or the fifth, for example." Right. So right off the bat, the customer's saying, "Hey, good to go. I want you to book me." So I'm going to come over to proposals, send proposal, and it sucks, but it's not on here. But in this case, we wouldn't want to send confirmation or quote through here or anything like that. We would just choose the option that directly says skip confirmation, right? So that way it automatically gets marked as booked, as we can see here. And now that it's booked, all that I have to do is essentially go to my workflow, which I actually haven't created. Sorry about that, guys. Let's take a step back one more time. So documents, flows, create flow. So let's say booked over the phone. Let's say we're going to use this one. Makes sense to use the confirmation email template. Once again, we're going to attach document PDFs. Once again, we're going to select all project types. We're going to make sure this is assigned to new project types as well. And the documents that we're going to be using are the confirmation letter. Click save. Let's say that through here, we're going to do a inventory review, which I saw earlier as well. Save. And let's say that here we're also going to do a waiver for liability. Once again. Oh, so something just came to my mind. As we know, through the confirmation process, we can send documents and we can also send a request for a deposit payment. When it comes to this document workflow, guys, we cannot request deposits. So even though this is similar to the confirmation workflow, the deposit would have to be captured or essentially received in a different way, either over the phone, in hand, in person with cash, etc. But for now that we have this here, guys, we click save. And once again, we're going to go back to the project that I created. This is already booked. Perfect. I just need, Luis to sign some documentation, go to his email, and we have the different document flows we can use here. And we have one specifically, which is booked over the phone. We select this and we can see we have, again, what would typically be sent through confirmation workflow, which is the confirmation letter, inventory review, the liability waiver. We make sure that the rest of the information is correct, and if everything seems good, we click send. And once again, that's an email that the customer is going to receive. They're going to see a link in that email. They're going to click on it, and they're going to be able to fill out and complete and essentially sign those documents that we just sent over. Oh, and I told you guys there is a second section that we can do this from. So if we go over to emails, right, and we click on the add email section, once again, we see document flows and email templates in the same section. So if it's from here or by clicking on the customer's email, we can access the document flows that we just created. And with that being said, guys, that is my time as well. We're going to now kind of get into questions and answers. So if there are any additional things you guys want to bring up, right now it is that time to do so. So we're going to be answering questions live for the next couple of minutes.